are here today to talk about Skyline from Tasty Minstrel Games. But before we do that, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can follow along as we journey through our collections of games. And there's a lot more to go. Long way to
hit that notification bell so you know the next time.
Yeah, because you don't want to miss a single moment of this.
It's exciting stuff.
Oh, yes.
All right, so Skyline came out in 2012. It's a little bit older. Board Game Geek rating is 6.0. Designers David Short. Gavin Brown and David Short are the artists, and it's published by Tasty Minstrel Games. Now, I had a hard time trying to find the MSRP for this because it's out of print, and it's not being sold anywhere. I couldn't find it on Amazon, or Geek Market had some like from India or some other countries, but found one copy on eBay, sold in the United Kingdom for $38.19 with $26.24 shipping.
Wow.
So for over $60, you can buy a copy of Skyline.
Well, mine was actually included when I bought my Kickstarter of Floor Plan. This was actually in the box of Floor Plan, which was interesting because it was like, you get the box, and like they forgot to send Skyline. You open it up, and it was inside the box. So they plenty of extra space in the Floor Plan box.
Okay.
As far as the components, really all you mostly get are these dice and some little cardboard buildings. It's a real basic game, so that's really all you need. The dice are kind of cool looking.
You got 3 different types of dice. You got your ground floor dice of 3 colors. Then you got the middle floors of the same 3 colors, except for the purple, which is the top level. And then you have the penthouse with the blue and orange.
Yeah. So you're building buildings that vary from size from 1 floor all the way up to 6 floors as a maximum. And it's Yahtzee style play, basically. As far as the cardboard, it's average stock. There's nothing special about it. Nothing horrible about it either. You get a little scoreboard, which really is just telling you it's kind of a cheat sheet, and it's showing you the how many turns are left.
Right.
That's really all that's in the box. As far as components, I think about a 6 is probably. I mean, there's not anything special about it, but the dice are kind of cool.
I mean, 6 seems a little high just because there really isn't much of anything. I mean, even with Catan, it's got more stuff in it. And so I can't rate it any higher than Catan. Certainly not any worse. So I'd say a 5.
Yeah, okay. As far as theme, it's very pasted.
There is no theme.
I mean, the buildings are kind of cool.
They're kind of neat, but it really could be anything. It doesn't have to be buildings.
Well, I know, but I mean, it makes sense that you're layering them on. So from that standpoint,
extremely light.
Yeah, there's no story whatsoever.
You're building buildings.
Building buildings. That's it. It's and the fact that it was accompanied with floor plan made sense.
Sure. Yeah, I didn't know that, but that does make sense.
So yeah, I mean, it's a neat little theme for the game, but it really is. It's completely pasted on.
Sure.
So from a thematics, the only thing I can really rate is the art. I think, which I like the color scheme they chose. I like the purple, the orange, and the blues that they chose. I think they're very pretty. The buildings are kind of cool looking on the tiles on some of them. I like the skyscrapers.
Yeah, I like the skyscraper
I was determined to build that. I was so close. But no, I don't see anything on here. I think I'm probably on a thematics again. I'm going to probably be right around a 6. I just don't think there's anything exciting about the theme about it, but it's fine.
And it's the same thing with thematics. I mean, Catan, it's not any different than Catan thematically. I can't get any higher than a 5.
All right, moving on to the rule book. So the rule book is very short, as you would expect.
As you would hope.
If this were a long rule book, there would be something wrong. Even with it being as simple of a game as it is, they managed to leave some things out in the rule book, or at least didn't explain them well. So one of the functions of the game is when you roll, if you fail on your die roll and you can't complete something, you have to either give up a die to the abandoned area where it starts with 3 dice in it, which we'll get into more gameplay, but basically you're giving up dice that is going to be giving advantage to the person who follows you in turn order. So the other option is to demolish, which lets you get rid of the dice back to the pool, but also destroys one of your either completed or in works buildings, which can be very painful.
Yes.
So don't fail on die rolls is the moral of the story. But it's a matter of weighing which one's more advantageous: giving up the points or giving up dice to your opponent, who's going to get to roll more dice. The rulebook just mentions those are choices. It doesn't go into explanation as to why or what. So it looks like you have the choice of putting a die in the abandoned area, not mentioning that your opponents get the dice, although it is kind of assumed. But the second one, the demolish, made absolutely no sense whatsoever without context on it. There was no context to say this prevents the dice from going into the abandoned area.
So So the point being that we didn't, until we actually stopped to think about it, we saw the advantage to the opponent if you have to put them in the abandoned area. It would have been nice in the rulebook that it said, by the way, if you choose to abandon a die, you're giving your opponent an advantage and extra dice.
Yeah, because it took us a while to figure out why on earth would you ever want to sacrifice.
Why would we sacrifice
points?
the building? Just just put the dice back in the pool.
Yeah, so it didn't make a lot of sense. But once we looked online and checked and found out why, it made sense. But it was like
it's just a little vague.
It was a little too vague for us. As far as the rest of it, I mean, it's very basic.
Very straightforward.
So if you don't grasp this, you probably haven't played Yahtzee before.
Right.
It's another Yahtzee variant. I'm going to probably give this a 6 on the rulebook as well, because that was a pretty big oversight, I think.
I think that's a good score.
Moving on to gameplay, we've almost covered the game.
Pretty much.
On your turn, you're going to either get 3 dice from the construction zone, which
your pick of the 3 types.
You get ground floor, middle floor, or penthouse.
Yep.
Or you can take all of the dice that are in the abandoned area, which includes as a base 1 from each of those sets. You're going to roll the dice, and you get to keep whichever dice you want to keep,
assuming you can build it.
Right. So you have to at least have a ground floor, or you can't build. So if you have a ground floor, you're gonna automatically play that. If you get a middle floor and it matches to one of your in progress buildings, and that's not completed, you can build that up to, as long as it's within the limits of the heights, because the blue has a height limit of 2 to 4, purple has 1 to 2, orange has 3 to 6. Mm-hmm. So you have to be within those ranges in order to continue building. The penthouse has blank spaces on sides, so you can actually roll nothing on those. And they have to match the colors, which are only going to be blue and orange. So
there is 2 blue and 1 orange, so you got a 50-50 chance of rolling a penthouse, but maybe not the color you're looking for.
Right. So I was fishing for an orange to get the 6th level building to finish the game, and I could never get it. So if you fail on those rolls, that's going to cause you to have to give up something. So either you're going to sacrifice dice to your opponent, or you're going to sacrifice a building that's in progress or completed back to the supply. And you can continue rolling and risking that. So it has a whole pressure lock element in the game.
But once you're out of active dice, then you are done.
Yeah. So you quit any time though. So you do have the option of quitting. Once you complete a building, you cash it in for a victory point building in the level that you're at, what ranges from 1 to 6. If you get a 6 level, that triggers the end of the game, or playing through 9 rounds will trigger the end of the game.
Right.
Good. You add up your points on the buildings you've completed.
And guess who wins?
And the person with the high score?
Yes.
That's awesome. Yes.
The rulebook got that part right.
Yep. Well, we had to check it a few times, right? So it's a real simple, easy game to learn.
It is.
It's easy to get to the table, and it takes a few minutes to play. It's not. It
says 20 minutes. I don't even think it's
15 actually.
So it may or may not take that long.
Yeah.
So it's super straightforward, super easy to play. I would suggest this if you really have a group of people that just never played board games,
or they're architects.
Yeah. Even then, I don't know if this would be. It might be a little too light. Mm-hmm. I mean, it is a very simple game. So if you just got very casual gamers that really play just your standard family games like Uno and Monopoly and stuff like that, this probably be a good starter for a hobby type game because that's literally it's a starter game.
Yeah, it's definitely an intro game. As far as, I mean, if you just like chucking dice, I mean, there's a lot of people that do. I like chucking dice games.
It's 100% luck based, and so So if you want a good dice roller, this would be a fun little game for you to play.
Yeah, I think I'm sticking with my middle of the road 6 on this. I don't think it's it's super short. It's an easy filler game. It works well for it. It's not exciting.
So the only reason why I'll go a little bit higher than Catan is because it's so much quicker.
Mm-hmm.
And so I will give it a 6 for that reason. You can get a lot of games out in the same amount of time it would take to play one whole game of Catan.
I think my 6 is just because of the pretty colors.
You're easy to please.
I am.
So, all right. Well, I think that's about it, right?
I believe so. So until next time, make sure you hit that subscribe button again. Don't hit it twice.
Right,
that would
then it
counter it.
Yeah.
If you hit it too many times, I think it will probably ban you from the system eventually if you just keep hitting it.
Right, or you get warped in some alternate dimension or
something.
Could
be. Yeah, you might subscribe to something you entirely had no intention of subscribing to.
Don't need to get to see that.
Yeah. Make sure you're on our page when you subscribe, too. That's another thing. Make sure you're not on some other inappropriate site that you weren't planning on being on. All right.
Have a good night.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.